Hello and a warm welcome. The big story we are breaking this evening. As of now, there are indications which suggest that the much anticipated cabinet reshuffle in the Modi government could happen before the end of this week. There have been today high-level deliberations between Prime Minister Modi and BJP President Amit Shah. Also, with Finance and Defence Minister Arun Jaitley, the final shape is being given to this cabinet reshuffle, which as of now seems likely could be executed before the Prime Minister leaves for China on the 3rd. Remember, the 3rd is when the Prime Minister will be in China. We're being told by sources from within Rashtrapati Bhavan that the President has been asked to stay in Delhi on the 1st and the 2nd of September. Remember, the 2nd is Eid, and therefore the possibility of the reshuffle happening on the 1st is higher. I want to quickly go across to my colleague and India's foremost political analyst, Rajdeep Sardesai, over an evening of coffee. What can be more interesting for a political hack than a cabinet reshuffle, Rajdeep?
Well, it appears, Rahul, that cabinet reshuffle will take place importantly before the Prime Minister goes to China. And many would say it's better late than never. Remember, you have a railway minister who's effectively on notice because Suresh Prabhu has been told to wait after he handed over his resignation last week. And there's been another train derailment only yesterday. You've got the Environment Ministry where Anil Dave passed away. So that ministry is also vacant. You've got crucially defense and finance. We've just got a report today of the Reserve Bank on demonetization. Questions will be raised whether the finance minister needs to focus much more at the moment just on his finance ministry. Will we have a new defense minister? These are all critical portfolios, and I think time was running out in a way. And Mr. Modi has been working on this exercise over the last week. So it's almost inevitable that reshuffle will take place. He cannot delay it any further. And this is the auspicious period, which again ends, I'm told, on the 2nd or the 3rd, after which again the entire process may get delayed. And I don't think the Prime Minister can afford a delay. He wants a new railway minister, he wants a new environment minister, and possibly a new defense minister and a new urban development minister.
Stay with me, Rajdeep. I want to go across to Meetu Jain. She is receiving word from her sources that the President has been asked to stay in the capital on the 1st and the 2nd. While a final date hasn't been announced just yet, a time hasn't been announced, but given what happens before reshuffles, that's quite significant, Meetu.
Yes, it is significant, Rahul. In fact, what sources were telling us is that the President was planning a trip to Tirupati. Now, what we are being told is that trip is being postponed because the President has been asked to stay back on the 1st and on the 2nd. In fact, not just this, what other sources in the Union Cabinet have been telling us for a while now is that there is every possibility of a reshuffle happening on the 2nd of September. And essentially, because if you know, I mean, like Rajdeep was saying, and as we know, essentially he is going to be occupied after that and straight after that the additional period. So
there are two things that happen. After this, the BJP President needs to be in Mathura for an RSS meeting for 3 days. The Prime Minister will be going abroad to China, and that again is something which has to be looked at. So the window of opportunity is very, very short. Aaj Tak's National Affairs Editor अशोक सिंगल is also now joining us. आपको क्या खबर मिल रही है अशोक जी, कब होगा ये रिशफल?
देखिए राहुल, मेरे को जो लगता है कि रिशफल तो जल्दी होना है और चाइना विजिट से पहले जो खबरें आ रही हैं, लेकिन सबसे बड़ी बात ये कि ये बड़ा फेरबदल होगा जो मोदी का सपना है, जिस ढंग से मोदी रिपोर्ट कार्ड है मंत्रियों का तमाम समीक्षा करके होगा, क्योंकि 2018 में चुनावी मोड में सरकार चली जाएगी, टाइम बहुत कम बचा है, बार-बार एक्सपेंशन या रिशफल नहीं होगा, तो जेडीयू से 2 लोग आएंगे, एआईडीएमके के लोग हैं, कुछ लोगों को ड्रॉप किया जाएगा, रेल मंत्रालय गडकरी को मिलने की खबरें आ रही हैं, क्योंकि जो परफॉर्मेंस रही है गडकरी की रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट में, उसको देखते हुए रेल मंत्रालय में बहुत सुधार की जरूरत है राहुल। तो ये तमाम चीजें मैटर करेंगी। डिफेंस मिनिस्टर एक लाया जाएगा, तो एक होगा तो बड़ा लेवल पे फेरबदल होगा।
Rajdeep, there is a problem there with the AIDMK, with TTV Dinakaran holding 21 MLAs currently. He is saying that there has to be a trust vote. So will the AIDMK join? There is uncertainty about whether the government OPS and EPS will survive.
I think there's a huge question mark over the AIDMK. The one AIDMK MP at the centre who's desperate to join the cabinet at the moment is Dr. Maitriyan. But there is also Thambi Durai, who's the senior most AIDMK leader. And I don't think that issue has been resolved for the very reasons that you said. Until it is very clear that the AIDMK enjoys a full majority, to expect them to immediately go to the centre is uncertain. But who is going to definitely join is the JDU. But the real story, and this is being played up in, I can tell you, in the Mumbai media in particular, is will the NCP, even though Supriya Sule has made it very clear there's no question of joining, there is this repeated rumor which is going on that Sharad Pawar, who has been very silent over the last week, is there going to be a possible last-minute switch where the NCP considers the possibility of joining this government? Some channels have even officially gone ahead and claimed that Pawar is joining. When I spoke to Supriya Sule, she categorically denied it.
And even when Sharad Pawar was asked this question, he said, you know, I'm so old now, do you really think I'll come in as a minister?
No, but maybe someone else within the government, because this is, as Ashok rightly puts it, the last possible reshuffle that this government can have before the general election. So it will be very comprehensive. There will be also some ministers who will be switched to the state, because there are elections to take place in certain critical states. So there will be a lot of change also between government and party. This is a major reshuffle.
और इसमें राहुल मैं एक चीज कहना चाहता हूँ, इसमें 5-6 राज्यों के गवर्नर्स भी बनाए जाने हैं जिनका टर्म पूरा हो रहा है, जहाँ पे वैकेंसीज हैं, वो एक फैक्टर है। दूसरा, चुनाव है कुछ स्टेट में, तो कुछ मंत्रियों को पार्टी प्रेसिडेंट बना के भेजा जा सकता है, कुछ को पार्टी में जनरल सेक्रेटरी बना के भेजा जा सकता है, क्योंकि चुनाव की तैयारी के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से 2019 को देखते हुए ये रिसफल होगा।
कलराज मिश्रा का उदाहरण लीजिए। कलराज मिश्रा had already reached 75, but because the UP elections were there, the Prime Minister did not take a call on the continuation of Kalraj Mishra as a minister. Now that call will probably be taken. There are also some ministers who are seen as non-performers. There are some critical ministries like agriculture, where I think the government believes it will need to do much more in the next 18 months, particularly since this is one issue which the opposition is hoping to capitalize on. So this will be the major reshuffle, which is why it's taken more than a week for the Prime Minister to hold confabulations on it.
There are two other points we want to break. One, we have reason to believe that through the back channels there have been indications made, and Gadkari has been sounded out for possibly taking over the Railways Ministry. But what we are being told is that Nitin Gadkari first wants to assess whether he'll be able to make a difference. You just saw in the investigation that we broke at 6 p.m. on India Today how the rail track had been pulled out, and that really shows how badly organized things are currently in the Indian Railways, despite everything that Suresh Prabhu may have tried over the last couple of years. So Gadkari wants to see whether he will be able to make an impact, make a difference before deciding whether he wants to take this additional responsibility, because if there are train accidents, then they'll be happening on his watch. Both of you know Nitin Gadkari well. He's a doer, but when you come in with such little time left and then there are train accidents, then that is on his head.
It is on his head, and his original idea was for an omnibus transport ministry, which at one level could also have included railways. That didn't happen. But remember, Rahul, now we don't even have an official railway budget every year, a separate railway budget. Mr. Gadkari is hoping for a more expanded role. He is one of the ministers who I think wants a little bit more than what he has got. Believes he has delivered on surface transport. Ideally, he would want roads and railways. I don't think he would want to leave the roads ministry, the surface transport, for railways. No. So only if it's an expanded transport ministry would he be tempted, I believe, to take the challenge.
I want to get in a word from Tamil Nadu and from Bihar. Remember, the JDU likely to join the government now, and also a possibility of the AIADMK joining the government. Tamil Nadu Bureau Chief Priyamvada is with us. OPS and EPS would like to be part of this reshuffle. We know that the Modi government is very keen on having the extra AIADMK MPs, especially for what it does for the Rajya Sabha numbers. But given the threat that TTV is holding out at this time, will they be a part of this reshuffle?
Well, as of now, Rahul, the main focus for the EPS and OPS government is to solve the issue here. Becoming part of NDA immediately could also make things very obvious, which the TTV had been hitting out so long. So they might wait and watch, but definitely 50 MPs swallow from Rajya Sabha from Tamil Nadu. But sources are telling me, at least from the AIADMK, that they're going to wait for some more time before indexing few loyalists who want definitely a to be part of NDA, especially cities like Maitreyan, who played a very major.
Okay, I want to go across also to Rohit Singh in Patna. He's joining us. Who are the ministers from the Janata Dal United who are likely to be inducted now into the Modi cabinet whenever this reshuffle does happen? Rohit.
Well, Rahul, as you know that Nitish Kumar is back into the NDA fold, and now it's almost certain that two leaders will be sworn in as the ministers in the Modi government whenever the reshuffle takes place. And these two names are RCP Singh, one of the most closest confidant of Nitish Kumar, and another is Santosh Kushwaha. He's a JDU MP from Purnia. So these are the two names what we are learning from the JDU sources that have been forwarded to the Prime Minister to be included into the cabinet whenever the reshuffle takes place.
So also, how is it likely to pan out in terms of what kind of ministerial positions are they expecting? Any idea yet of how many of these will be ministers of state and how many would like to be full-rank ministers? We also know that there is one part of the JDU that's eyeing the railways ministry that would like somebody from the Janata Dal United to be made railways minister, regardless of whether that ultimately happens or not.
Well, as you are pointing out, Rahul, Railway Ministry, I don't think so at this point of time that Railway Ministry will be given to the JDU, because all these two persons whose name are being talked about, RCP Singh and Santosh Kushwaha, they don't have any kind of experience as far as the holding ministry is concerned. So that will be a big question mark to give a Railway Ministry to such a person who has no experience. But yes, they will be made minister, that is for certain, and remains to be seen only it's the prerogative of the Prime Minister whether they are made full-fledged cabinet ministers or MOS. But as far as railway is concerned, I have my own doubts because they have absolutely no experience.
So the big story we are breaking this evening, there are enough reasons to believe at this time that the government is in the process of high-level consultation and is working towards a cabinet reshuffle which could happen as early as the end of this week, which means it could happen on Friday. There were conversations between Prime Minister Modi and BJP President Amit Shah today. Finance and Defence Minister Arun Jaitley was involved as well. Final shapes are being given. I want to go across to Priyambada. Priyambada, I want to focus on whether AIADMK will be a part of this reshuffle. What's the sense that you're picking up?
Well, Rahul, from what I'm being told by the sources is, there is no complete confirmation whether AIADMK is going to be part of the NDA, but because BJP is also weighing the options considering the political confusion that is existing here, with already the opposition parties hitting out at the governor for not calling in for a floor test. So if they're going to be officially inducted in this reshuffle, if the AIADMK is going to be officially inducted, that will give more reason for the opposition parties to create confusions within Tamil Nadu. So the focus right now for both the central and the state government is to stabilize the political situation, because TTB Dinakaran is threatening to pull down the government, and so is DMK. So passing the floor test is going to be extremely crucial, but we know that already Tambidurai is the deputy speaker there. So the 50 MPs are indeed going to matter for the BJP, but there is no immediate confirmation whether any of them will be inducted as ministers, which means it will look very obvious and prove the point that DMK and TTB side have been telling to people of Tamil Nadu that BJP...
Meetu Jain is also joining us. She's been speaking to her sources inside the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Has a time been fixed, or is it just that the first and the second are 2 days when the Rashtrapati is being told to stay in Delhi, requested to stay in Delhi for a possible reshuffle that may happen at any time on these 2 days? Meetu.
Yes, like I said earlier, Rahul, the president was planning to go to Tirupati. This was a long-awaited trip that he was planning to make. Now, what we do understand is that has been put on hold. He has been requested by the Prime Minister's office to stay put in Delhi on the 1st and the 2nd. In addition to that, what sources in the Union Cabinet have been telling me for the past few days is that there's every possibility of a reshuffle on the 2nd, because that's a very small window that is available. The Prime Minister has to be travelling, and after that is the period of Shad in which nothing auspicious is ever done. So essentially a very small window, and because of which we do understand that the president has been asked to stay back. There is a possibility that that a reshuffle could be taking place here then.
Okay, I want to go across to our National Affairs editor, Rahul Srivastav. He's joining us on this broadcast. He's been speaking to his sources in the Modi government. A thorough evaluation of the performance of all ministers has been carried out. So it's not a whimsical exercise, but a deep data-based, performance-based evaluation matrix that's been put in place to evaluate whether or not the Modi mantris are delivering, Rahul.
Rahul, there are two basic elements to it. That it could have been merely an exercise to fill in the vacancies like the Defense Ministry, Environment, say for example even railways now. But what top sources are saying that this is not an ordinary exercise. This is the exercise in which Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah will like to create a team as far as the Council of Ministers is concerned, which will lead the BJP through the 2019 election. A very serious evaluation of the performance of the schemes through two means. One, through several meetings Prime Minister has had over the last 1 year, in which the execution and implementation of the government schemes vis-a-vis cabinet and government decisions was undertaken. Second, Amit Shah, through his 100-day yatra all over the country, has prepared a voluminous dossier on the kind of public perception and the implementation of government schemes as far as various ministries is concerned. And what top sources are saying, that this is not going to be a small exercise by any yardstick. It's going to be an exhaustive exercise in which at least more than a dozen changes can be effected by the Prime Minister and Amit Shah, the BJP president. Interestingly, what sources are saying, that the last meeting as far as tying up all the loose ends as far as the Cabinet Council of Ministers rejig is concerned is likely tomorrow between Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah. What we are also hearing, that Amit Shah has consulted already top leaders in the government like Mr. Arun Jaitley, Mr. Rajnath Singh and Sushma Swaraj for this exercise, which is likely. Now, these are very, there is a hazard warning over going with such news, is that since the Prime Minister is leaving on the 3rd, the exercise could take place on between the 3rd and tomorrow, that is when the Prime Minister and Amit Shah meet. That means that the 1st and the 2nd of September are the windows of opportunity when this exercise can be taking place.
What is it, Rahul, that you're picking out about Railways Minister Suresh Prabhu? Our own investigation and all the accidents recently point out that on the ground, the railways is still a mess despite the effort that Suresh Prabhu has made. Will he be moved out of railways to another ministry, or will he be dropped from the cabinet altogether?
Rahul, there are two basic lines of thought which are emerging from the government. One, that Mr. Suresh Prabhu always preferred a ministry like the Environment Ministry. Now, that's a vacancy in the government after Mr. Anil Madhav Dave passed away. Now, what some sources are saying, that Prime Minister could well be sending Mr. Suresh Prabhu to the Environment Ministry, so that that's one critical ministry which, if you realize, earlier also Mr. Javadekar as a minister tried to undo the kind of red tape which existed in the Environment Ministry. And somebody like Mr. Suresh Prabhu, who has handled the Environment Ministry earlier, could be a good choice. Also, there is another line of thought that somewhere the Prime Minister may find another respectable exit for Suresh Prabhu. But what that exactly could be is not being stated. But the more chances that Mr. Suresh Prabhu could well remain in the Council of Ministers, that is a stronger buzz as far as the government is concerned.
Thanks very much, Rahul Srivastav, for joining us. Rajdeep Sardesai, final words from you. One, a performance evaluation done of all mantris. So the next 48 odd hours, all the mantris will have their hearts in their mouths wondering, Mera kya hoga? That's point number one. Point number two, Smriti Irani being brought in from textiles, additional charge of I&B. That portfolio likely to be given to her for good?
We don't know at the moment. When she was first given that portfolio, you will recall she emphasized it was temporary charge. And she had invested a lot of time in the textiles portfolio. But given the fact that she has some experience in the industry, it is very possible the stand that she took when it came to the censor board chairman suggests that she may well be here for good, which means that the textile portfolio will also then have to be filled in. There are lots of fill in the blanks, Rahul, in this government. One of the criticisms of the government in the past has been the lack of bench strength. This is an opportunity, perhaps the last opportunity the Prime Minister has to silence any such criticism, to ensure that critical portfolios are occupied by people who have the administrative skill and the political nous, because that is very critical as you build up to an election. It's not enough to have someone who may be a technocrat, but you need also now people who will manage the political environment.
No, but there the feedback that the RSS and the party give the Prime Minister is that one of the mistakes that Vajpayee ji did was bring in all these people who were from outside the party and made them in charge. So he doesn't want to do that because that didn't go down well with both the BJP and the RSS.
That's exactly what I'm saying. The time has come perhaps to have people with political skills, not so much people who are seen to, who might appeal to a particular constituency which may not deliver you votes. This is now about votes. This is now about elections. You are now entering that stretch leading into the 2019 elections. There are even reports that the Prime Minister may well look at a general election in November, December of 2018. So we may well be just 15 months away from a general election. There's a strong possibility of that also. And given that, I think this reshuffle will, in a sense, be the Prime Minister finally putting his stamp on the government in terms of the kind of people that he needs to fill these critical portfolios where the government has had a question mark in the last few months, rather in the last 12 months in particular.
Thanks so much, Rajdeep. So there are 2 or 3 things I want to say as we wrap up this news break this evening. Point number 1, the window of opportunity is on the 1st and the 2nd of September. That's what they're working for. It may get delayed, because if it gets delayed, then because of the inauspicious period, could get delayed for about 15 days, till about the 3rd, 4th week of September. So they're trying to ensure that it happens before that. The uncertainty in Tamil Nadu is one question mark about whether the AIDMK will formally be able to join the NDA or not, and whether their ministers will be inducted, especially when there's a question mark about what happens to the government in the state. Also, lots of discussions. We know on good authority that the Prime Minister and the BJP President spoke today, deliberated on what to do and how to do it. There's a possibility that Amit Shah will start calling all the ministers who are being brought in. That conversation, remember, like last time, will happen. And then the 1st and the 2nd of September is when Rashtrapati Ramnath Kovind has been asked to stay in the capital. And that's when this reshuffle could be rolled out. We're tracking this story very closely.